Okay. Hello, Michael. Thank you so much for being on the Abdona Alchemy podcast. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, I want to tell the people how I found you so that anyone who's tuning in with us is on this journey with us together.
hmm
So I was scrolling on Instagram and I came up on a reel made by you in
hmm
which you said something like, hey, all the star seeds.
This is a calling to all starseeds who are watching this video, guys. Comment in the motherfucking chat, for real. Let's get to know each other. Let's start, communicating a little more. And, just realizing that we're not insane. We are simply just otherworldly. That's the truth of it. So, yeah, guys, comment, start some sort of thread below. Let's do it. Let's do it. And yeah, I want to hear some of your stories about whatever the fuck's going on, guys. What the fuck is going on? For real. What is going on? Why am I the one right now in front of this camera saying this? That's my question. But here we are. Here we are. So it's raining. I love y'all.
And first of all, the comment section was bussin'. So many cool people. So I found the courage to just say hi and, curious what's going on here. And I wanted to share that so that everyone knows as I'm getting to know you and your story that they're on this journey with us.
hmm
So would you please introduce yourself in any way that feels authentic to you between the sixth dimension and third dimension? What do you want people to know about Michael?
Cool. Yeah. So, Starseed is a good place to start. I like to just introduce myself as a creator, and like every time I try to put a label on it, like an artist, an entrepreneur, a content creator, whatever it might be, it just doesn't fit. And I mentioned Starseeds because as we move into this like new era of humanity, there are more and more creators out there. There are more and more people who are just so unique and creating all kinds of cool things. And I just don't like putting a label on it. So, we're all just
Yeah.
creators. So, I'm infinite creator.
That's amazing. Now, I want to ask you, and this is a genuine question. I mean, I was called there and I came there, but what exactly is a starseed? Like, I feel like I am one, but I don't know exactly what it is.
Mhm. So, a starseed is really any being, any human, anything really, anything that
Mhm.
has consciousness that originates from another star system. So, I mean, star seeds have existed all through time, just different planets, different star systems projecting consciousness down, whether it be um, like a soul coming to Earth to experience Earth reality from a consciousness that is stemming from the Pleiadian star system or just another star system.
Mhm.
Uh, but basically, a star seed is someone whose just entire being originates outside of Earth, which
Yeah.
really all humans.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how does that fit in? The way I think of it is there's the collective. Now we're gonna get right into the
Go
trippiness.
for it.
I see it as the collective consciousness, and we are all consciousness experiencing itself, the universe experiencing itself in human form.
Mhm.
Um, when I hear star seeds, is there a special group of people that are chosen that are star seeds, or is, everyone, I believe everyone has the infinite within them and they all have this knowledge that they can tap into. But is a star seed something extra outside of that?
So think of it like no one's consciousness originates from Earth, really.
Hmm.
Like the Earth is conscious, but even the Earth has its own source, and we all have this one source. And the reason starseed is more apparent now is because for the longest time, Earth's been in this vibration that is purely three dimensional. So very intellectual, physical, and emotional. And we've been operating from basically the things we know. We're born and then we learn all these different things. We get all these ideas told to us and we experience life based on those ideas, which is all just what we know from our experience, which is third dimensional living. And so the reason starseed is more apparent now and why people are awakening to, oh, I am a starseed, is because as Earth rises in frequency and goes beyond the third dimension, we're able to access planets and star systems that are in those higher dimensions and bring through energy from them. And you could think of like connecting to different star systems as tuning in like a walkie-talkie to those star systems and then bringing through energy from them, from that star system down to Earth. And so a star
I
seed
love
is,
that.
so like any star seed to really, a starseed is someone who is just tapping into higher levels of awareness that exist in different star systems and is able to
Okay.
actually ground those down on Earth. But everyone's consciousness exists and it originates from somewhere outside of Earth. And as Earth raises in consciousness, we're able to actually tap into just other star
Yeah,
systems and the
I
energies.
get it. I get it. Yep. So I am a starseed now. It's confirmed. And
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that, just when we put words and explanations to things, it helps us understand it better. There's a lot of people that are on the cusp and stuff. And I actually saw one of your reels where you explained the different dimensions, third, fourth, fifth, and the way you explained it was like, oh, that's so practical. So could you also explain for the people what is the difference between third, fourth, fifth, dimensions?
Mm-hmm. So dimensions is easily confused with like, okay, there's an x-axis, a y-axis, and a z-axis. There's like 3 dimensions. There's density, there's depth. But from a consciousness level, the 3 dimensions are, all dimensions are areas of awareness and states of being. So areas of awareness, as you go through different dimensions, you are aware of different things. You have access to different types of information. And as you go through dimensions, you also have access to different states of being. So we'll start at the first dimension. The first dimension is your physical body and your etheric body, meaning the information that you're aware of is the physical sensations that you're experiencing. So if you're one-dimensional awareness, then you're only aware that you are a physical body. You are just simply here. And we add another layer to that by adding the second dimension, which is emotion. It's allowing us to feel subtle energies of just the cosmos, feelings, frequencies. And that is it's basically inseparable from the first dimension because you can feel emotion in your body. When you feel a certain emotion, it just travels through your body, whether it be love, butterflies, whatever it might be. And so that's another level of information that you can be aware of. So in your first dimension awareness, you're aware of your physical body. In your second dimension of awareness, you're aware of your emotions. And then what makes the 3-dimensional reality 3-dimensional is the third dimension, which is the mental intellectual body. And this is where we live in our minds. Most humans, all humans living in the 3D lifestyle are solely living with their intellect and their reasoning capacities. They're not tapping into spiritual dimensions where they can pull through, just crazy things and more regenerative things.
That was beautiful right there, because I didn't even know what the first and second dimension was. I just knew we always say 3D, so I usually start there. So even to break it down like that is so amazing. All right, so I think, everyone knows then 1, 2, and 3D. It's just the way we perceive life. Okay, now beam us up, Scotty. What comes next?
So the thing that makes, so we have our 3-dimensional reality, which is just us being aware that we're here and that we're thinking and we're experiencing. Now, as you raise in consciousness and awareness, you then come to this place where you say, okay, what's beyond my thinking intellectual mind? And as you ask yourself that question, you realize that you're questioning your highest dimension. You're saying you're observing your highest dimension. You're saying, I'm aware that I'm thinking. I'm aware that I have thoughts. I'm aware that I am a physical body, an emotional body, and a mental body. You might not know that those 3 particular, but you know that you're experiencing these things. And that leads to the conclusion that there is yet another dimension that you're operating from. if you're able to observe and see your thoughts for what they are and experience yourself as more so the observer of your thoughts, like, man, I had that thought the other day. Man, what are thoughts? Am I thinking right now? Wait, I'm thinking right now.
Yep.
That alone is the fourth dimension, which is
Yeah.
the first of the spiritual dimensions. And it
Yeah.
is the dimension of consciousness, the dimension of being aware that you are aware.
And I think, sorry to cut you off, but I think that one is a huge step for people to just get to that. And it sounds trippy, fourth dimension, but
Mhm.
it's kind of just, I think that's meditation to begin with. And I want to break it down for people watching, because I feel like a lot of people hear meditation and they're like, oh, so boring. Like, F that.
Mhm.
But it's so much more than being peaceful and calm. It is literally expanding your awareness and choosing to not believe all your thoughts. It's like we had this antiquated perception of life where our thoughts just are everything, and then we began to learn that we don't have to listen to them. There's so many thoughts that go through there, so monitoring them and becoming aware of them is like, I would say, the secret to life. Don't listen to everything you think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay,
Thoughts are
awesome.
pesky.
So that's the fourth dimension then, just becoming aware that you are not just a third dimensional being, right?
Mhm. And it goes, it's a little bit more than that too, because the
Okay.
fourth dimension is like, you could say, the testing grounds for spirituality. As you ascend in dimensions, you reach higher levels of spiritual awareness that grant different access to information and powers and all kinds of different things. And the fourth dimension is special because it's the first spiritual dimension. And like I said, it's like the testing grounds. So you experience all these different things, and you have to navigate the lessons of the fourth dimension in order to actually ascend into higher dimensions. And Earth has been in a fourth dimensional state for a long time. Religion is fourth dimensional because religion is the acknowledgement that there is something more than the three dimensions. And
Wow, that gave me chills to put it in that way, that religion is fourth dimension. Yeah.
and
Okay.
as like right now, humanity is ascending into a more baseline fifth dimensional state, and so there's going to be a whole new style of religion. It's not religion, but a new style of practices and just agreed upon teachings, I guess, that embody
Awareness.
that embody a fifth dimensional state. And I'll get into the fifth dimension in a second, but the fourth dimension is like an awareness of spiritual powers, an awareness of higher power, your dreams, your ability to connect to archetypes, so different gods and goddesses. That still stems in higher dimensions, but it's more so the awareness that you can tap into those things. You can, connect to Jesus. You can connect to Lao
Archangel
Tzu.
Michael and all Archangel Raphael, I definitely call on them when I need help, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's only fourth dimension. Okay. And
No,
you
so actually
okay.
the archangel stuff is like they communicate through that, like they start higher, but they can communicate to you through the fourth dimension, but those energies exist in the ninth dimension and higher. So
Okay. Okay. Before we get there, you mentioned the fourth dimension is a test.
Mhm.
What are we being tested on?
So as you ascend in higher levels of awareness, you then grant yourself access to basically a more synchronistic life that allows you to manifest more things. So the fourth dimension, you could also say, is the astral dimension or the dimension of dreams. And it's the dimension of, like, when you go to sleep, you can dream of all these different things. When you're sitting here right now, you could be daydreaming about being on a beach, drinking like a pina colada or something. And that
Yes.
is like as humans, our first glimpse of our true creative power, which is our ability to visualize, our ability to see visions, our imagination, and then bring that down. And as you tap into, higher dimensions of being, you are tapping into heaven and bringing it down to earth. But the fourth dimension is the place where you can't get hurt, but you can go either right or left, and both are going to take you down all kinds of different directions. You can have negative spirits, you can have positive spirits. It's also the dimension of like past spirits, like the dead people and stuff like that, like
Mhm. Mhm.
mediumistic stuff. When people are connecting with like grandparents, things like that, they're connecting to the fourth dimension. Um, and then when you get to like ETs and stuff, that's a little higher. But
Okay.
so the fourth
And
dimension.
when you say it can be like go one way or another, would that kind of be people daydreaming about things that they don't want to manifest? You know what I mean? Kind of like you can visualize the reality that you want and feel into that, or you can kind of visualize a doomsday and like make a self-fulfilling prophecy of that.
Mm-hmm. So it's that. It's like testing to see what your mind is creating in this dream world. And when you
Mhm.
graduate the fourth dimension, then you've basically proven that you are dreaming things into existence that are worth manifesting on the physical plane. And then you get
Mhm.
access to higher levels of awareness to where you can actually experience the synchronicities that are necessary in order for you to actually manifest those dreams. But and another thing too is like prayer. For instance,
Mhm.
like the fourth dimension has a bunch of pitfalls, basically, like a bunch of so many different lessons that all humans have to go through, whether in one lifetime or a bunch of lifetimes.
Mhm.
They have to go through all these different lessons in order to allow the connection between heaven and earth to ground. And some of those pitfalls are um, like I have a whole bunch of them in my mind. I'm trying to think
Mhm.
which one. Like prayer, for instance. Like a good
Yeah.
example is a spiritual pitfall in the fourth dimension is praying for no more wars. People wake up and they're like, "Please God, like no more wars, no more wars." But that's a pitfall. That's a distorted prayer because your attention, your awareness is specifically on the wars rather than on peace.
Mhm.
So that's an
Mhm.
example of how, people are playing in this fourth dimensional game of prayer,
Mhm.
believing that they're, praying for better days, but rather they're actually creating the worst days.
Yeah, I,
So,
I love how you said that. I would say that's like, the book, the documentary, The Secret, Manifesting
mhm,
101, where they teach you, switch your thoughts to think about what you do want to create because the universe can't distinguish between what you want or what you're thinking about. So
mhm,
don't think about no war, think about I want peace. That little switch right there.
mhm.
And you mentioned the word graduating, which I love. Does that mean, would graduating mean becoming aware that your thoughts are actually creating your reality? Is that how you graduate the
Mhm.
fourth dimension?
So yeah, it's being fully aware that your thoughts are creating reality and then holding yourself accountable for that realization. So if you're aware that your thoughts create reality, but you're continuously visualizing and thinking about negativity, then you're not holding yourself accountable for that power. You're really
Yeah.
just creating these like dense creations, and some of them are going to come through. Like
Hmm.
a lot of that negativity is going to come through. And
Yeah.
like for some that's their downfall, and for some that is their opportunity to shift and say, no, my thoughts do create reality, my
Hmm.
visions do create reality, and so I'm going to hold myself accountable and take action by intentionally dreaming good things into existence. And
Yeah.
so as you recalibrate your mind to start dreaming better things into existence, and that literally could mean like every single day waking up and thinking of unicorns and rainbows and running through
Hmm.
pastures and stuff like that, like, be cheesy with it, because the more dreamy and the more like what's the word, like ecstatic or yeah, like
Feel it. We have to feel it, not just think about it. We have to
mhm,
feel good.
yes,
Feel the
yes,
feelings. It's coming through in my heart right now, so I want to share in case it hits for anyone watching. It's sometimes it just hurts me so much to see, and of course I've done this myself and I'll probably continue to do it, but it hurts me when I see people think of the worst case scenario in a way to protect themselves, and then watch it become a self-fulfilling prophecy, like this might happen, and then they're afraid of it, and then it ends up happening. And I wish they could take a step back and see that they created it because they couldn't see a reality out of it. And I've certainly done this before as well, but just becoming aware of, if you fear that, you're going to create it. And it's hard to not fear certain things, but it's like we were taught that you have to use the mind and you have to think of all scenarios like a referee or a football coach and plan things out. But that just kind of keeps us divided and in chaos and messes up our feelings. And then it creates more of that.
No, I love that. And yeah, it's like a very powerful phrase that encompasses what you just said is what if. What if is like the most powerful word, or the most powerful phrase in a fourth dimensional, like school, basically the fourth dimension series of lessons that you go through is you can ask yourself, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if the worst case scenario happens? And what you're doing is you're just visualizing that what if. Just by saying what if, you then create this like string of possibilities. Your mind starts to rapid fire all the different things that could happen. And so if you say, what if this doesn't work out? Then automatically, from a fourth dimensional standpoint, your imagination is just running on autopilot, thinking of all the what if case scenarios for things not working out. And a simple switch is just forcing yourself continuously to say, what if this works out? What if I get the job? What if I post this and it goes viral? What if I do this? What if I launch this and it's successful? That what it's doing is it's rewiring your brain to actually start imagining all the different potentialities that could possibly happen. And in that state, then you're actually bringing through all those potentials. And whatever you're thinking, it's going to be an infinite loop. Like you're never going to get out of it. Everything's just cyclical, whether you're thinking of the worst or you're thinking of the best. So
I love that. I think it's just letting go of the fear of letting go. You don't have to control it. Just let go and tune into the feelings of the best case scenario. So if we can give people one thing to help them graduate the fourth dimension.
I'm trying to turn my computer on.
That's okay. That's the universe giving a confirmation.
Getting blown. This never happens. There we go. All right, I'm back.
Okay. So if we can give people one takeaway to graduate the fourth dimension, navigate and graduate it, what would you tell them? That's okay.
The graduation for the fourth dimension is dreaming better things into existence. Dreaming, like, doesn't matter how spiritual you are, doesn't matter what kind of diet you have, doesn't matter what your frequency is, doesn't matter any of that. It's just a matter of what dreams are in your mind. And it's the training ground of dreaming. The better dreams you have, the more you intentionally allow yourself to dream of joyful, prosperous dreams, the more likely you are to graduate at a faster rate. And when you graduate, you get access to your infinite creative powers, where you can actually start grounding the dreams that are in your mind. It's no longer just fantasy or imagination. It's actually bringing these things through because the universe, your higher self, your operating system trusts you enough to actually continuously bring through things of joy. And there is a tipping point where once you go past it, it's like, even if you do decide, I'm going to sink into negativity, it's just like your entire being isn't going to do that because you feel so amazing. So
I love that. And I think, once people unlock that power, they realize like, oh, this works. I call it manifesting. But once people realize the power within them, then they're like, how far can I take this? Let's keep going. Yeah. And I think as you become more aware of that, you also, like you just said, become aware of when you're slipping into negativity, and then you can correct and say, all right, let me get back on track and, focus on what I do want to create.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. So now let's go to the next level. We've gone this far. What's the fifth?
Okay, so we'll say this, in the fourth dimension, your goal is to start dreaming prosperity, dreaming joyful dreams, dreaming better visions of reality. And in the fourth dimension, everything exists. All dreams exist. And the fourth dimension is also called the dimension of completed dreams. And wow, this one person is like going straight through my do not disturb, calling. I don't even know who it is.
Do you want to answer? You totally can.
Can I answer really quick?
Yes.
We're going to keep it moving.
So, fifth dimension. You were saying the fourth dimension is the dimension of, how did you put it? Creating your completed dreams. Okay.
And that's like the fourth dimension. Everything exists. All your visions. Like right now, you could sit here, close your eyes, and visualize a version of yourself with like tentacle arms or the color blue. You know, you can paint these pictures in your mind. And to step above that is to contemplate what it would really feel like if you actually stepped into that realm of completed dreams. So, for example, if you really knew that, let's say you have a dream in your mind of riding a spaceship and having a podcast on a spaceship and petting unicorns all day, how would you feel? And so those questions are the questions that allow you to grant yourself access to higher dimensions. It's understanding the feeling of being in a space of completed dreams, having all of your dreams already fulfilled. Because the fourth dimension teaches you that everything already exists. Everything already exists within the mind. And to ascend into the fifth dimension, you have to, one, start dreaming better things. And with those dreams of better things, understand that there is one feeling associated with having all of your dreams come true. And that feeling is joy. That feeling is peace. Because if all your dreams are true, if everything in your reality will manifest instantly, then you wouldn't be down. You wouldn't be just
you would feel gratitude, or you'd feel rich, or whatever it is that you want. You would feel those feelings.
So like in the fourth dimension, it's still about feeling, but it's more so about calibrating your mind, calibrating your thinking, and calibrating your visualization. And then the feeling state becomes important when you actually want to manifest those things. So you can visualize all you want, but nothing's going to manifest unless you actually feel that thing. And in order to bring these things through, all right, I got to take these calls. I'm getting blown up with like, I don't even know what it is, but I'm getting like, call. Can you give me 2 seconds?
Yes.
All right.
A few moments later, a few minutes later.
So
everything okay?
So if you've been keeping up.
Yeah, I know I have been keeping up, and you were the whole abduction mission. So that's why I'm like, well, maybe it's important.
Yeah, it's that.
Tell me, do you have to go? Is everything okay?
Dad just called me saying that the police called him because she's reported missing right now.
No way. Is she okay? I mean,
yeah, she's good. She's chilling. Yeah.
Do you need to go? Is she hanging out with you? What's going on? I didn't really follow. I just saw you were going on a mission to abduct someone, and I wanted to, just randomly get to that part. But before we move forward, are you okay to continue, or do you need to reschedule?
Can we reschedule this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
All
I hope everything's okay. We'll pick up where we left off another time.
Cool. I
Okay.
appreciate you.
No worries, Michael. Thanks.